Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. Today's video is my second annual Top 10 Stocking Stuffers for Card Makers video. In this video, I'm going to cover 10 different small gifts for other card makers or for yourself that I have found and really love. Most of these items are under $10, so they make great stocking stuffers or small gifts for friends. I'm not going to make a ton of cards today, but for anything that I've already done an in-depth video for, it will be linked down in the YouTube description box below the video. So if you need more information, be sure to head down there. And of course, you can always ask other questions in the comments below. These are not in any specific order. I love them all equally. So first, let's take a look at the KARIN Deco Brush Permanent Metallic Markers. I've really wanted to try out these markers for a long time, and I figured this video was my chance to give them a try. So these are by KARIN Markers. You know that I love their Brush Marker Pros. Those are watercolor markers. These are permanent markers, and they're metallic. So they come in this really nice case that keeps them protected. They do say to store them horizontally, so I'll probably just keep them in this case. So I wanted to swatch out all of the colors for you, and I wanted to swatch them out on both black cardstock and white cardstock. These are meant to really shine on dark cardstocks, so that's why I wanted to be sure to have the black here, but I wanted to share that they do look pretty on white cardstock as well. It's just, it doesn't pop off the background as much as it does on the black. And you can see, especially with the lighter colors, how stunning it is on the black cardstock. So I am thinking of maybe doing a video in the upcoming weeks showing a couple of ways to use these. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to do one maybe coloring in an embossed image on the black cardstock. So definitely let me know if you're interested in seeing that. Many of you know that I am not a perfect stamper. I use a MISTI all the time, and even then I don't always get the greatest impression because I don't put enough pressure on the tool. The next stocking stuffer that I want to share with you is StampersSecret Debbie Tool. So when I have an extra large stamp like this one from the Stamp Market, that's their Fa La La clear background stamp, I like to use the Debbie tool because it adds lots of pressure to the outside without me having to really press down on my own, saves my wrists, and it looks really pretty. It fits my hand perfectly. There are different sizes in the StampersSecret Etsy shop. There's this really nice strong felt at the bottom that makes it easy to slide around on the MISTI cover, and the wood and the door handle are just really great construction. Now, Debbie was able to find the supplies to make her Debbie tool at a lesser price, so she decreased the price on the tool, so saving you a little bit of money. Now, I just like to slide this tool back and forth, side to side. Again, I am not having to really stand up and press down to get this impression. I have a whole video dedicated to the StampersSecret Debbie tool, and I will link to that in the description box below the video. Another great gift idea for someone else or yourself are the latest colors in the Distress family. So Tim Holtz has added a bunch of new colors over the past year, and I'm just gonna go through those. Now, I love Distress Oxides, so that's what I've purchased. But if you love sprays or the regular Distress inks, these colors come in those as well. So I have an entire video dedicated to 10 reasons why I love Distress Oxide inks. I will link to that video below in the YouTube description box below this video. But for now, I'm just gonna stamp out the new Distress Oxide inks, and you can see that you get a really nice rainbow if you pick up all of the new colors. When I had stamped them all out already, this is Kitsch Flamingo, Crackling Campfire, Rustic Wilderness Speckled Egg, Prize Ribbon, and Villainous Potion, I realized I forgot my absolute favorite Salvaged Patina, and you could not forget Salvaged Patina. I mean, just look at that color. It screams Rebecca. For those of you who love ink blending, the Stamp Market came out with a very unique tool this year called Tacky tiles. So Tacky tiles are pieces of plastic that are shaped to go in the underside of an ink pad and they have a sticky back. You peel off the protective plastic and place it down even on your desk, on your work surface. It's not going to ruin it. And then you place your ink pad right on top, and when you remove the lid, then the ink pad is not going to go anywhere. They also have the minis that fit ink cubes. Now, of course, these fit the Stamp Market's ink pads and ink cubes, but they also fit Gina K's, they fit Hero Arts, they fit all those traditionally rectangular sized ink pads and square ink cubes. They fit perfectly. So you can see using a blending brush, I'm able to just go to the ink on either the cube or the pad and not have to hold that in place. So I'm just working on my paper. It helps me get it done more quickly, and it just makes it a lot easier. I have an entire video dedicated to the tacky tiles, so I'll link to that below this video in the YouTube description box. When you're done with these tacky tiles, you can just put the plastic back on, especially if you have big dogs like me that shed all over the place or dust. You can protect the bottom, but if they do get dusty or dirty, you can wash them off and they regain their stick. So they're just very innovative, and I really love using them, especially for ink blending. I know I keep promising videos for beginners, and I really have been planning them out for next year. But one thing that I did want to share right now is one of my favorite black inks. This black ink from the Stamp Market stamps beautifully, crisply, and darkly. So that's why it's the next stocking stuffer. So the Stamp Market's black ink is a waterproof premium dye ink, but it's the new type of dye ink that sits on a foam pad. Now I'm going to use several different sentiments from the Waffle Flowers Thank You stamp set to demonstrate how it stamps on large stamps and small stamps and medium stamps. And you can see the fine detail that you'll be able to achieve in these tiny little fonts and thin lines. So I definitely noticed that my ink pad is a little dry and needs to be refilled, and there are refills available, so I just need to do that. But you can see that even just with one impression and a pad that needs to be refilled, you get a really great black looking impression. So the other thing about this is great, is once it dries, it is waterproof, so you can watercolor in, say, the open lines of the thank you. Another thing that is great about this ink is that it dries relatively quickly. Now, if I was going to watercolor on it, yes, I would heat set it, but if I'm just stamping it, I'm not going to smear it because it's not a pigment ink, even though it has that foam pad. It seems like stencil sets have been all the rage this year for card making, and that's why I chose a stencil set from Waffle Flower Crafts as my next stocking stuffer idea. I have an entire video dedicated to Waffle Flower's new brushes, brush holders, stencil mats, and I'll be sure to link to that down in the YouTube description box below the video. But I did want to show you a stencil that I just recently picked up. It's not brand new, but it's called the Mandala stencil, and it's a layering stencil. So there are lots of companies that have these. I love the ones that also have dies related to them so that you can cut them out. And I did just want to share with you how this Mandala stencil works, because it's very pretty and it's very easy to line up. So the first layer is that first salvaged patina. Again, didn't want to forget about that. And then I'm using prize ribbon. You can see with the stencil mat, I'm working up in the upper left hand corner, and it is allowing me to put the stencil in the corner, the paper in the corner, so that I don't have to worry about lining anything up. I just put everything in the upper left-hand corner. For the video purpose, I do it up at the top. If you were doing it yourself, you might want it, if you're right-handed, in the bottom right-hand corner so you can blend downward, right? And not have to really hold it in place. But for video purposes, I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, and it's easier to do it that way. I did cut it out as well, and check out how easy it was to create this beautiful mandala. One of my favorite products this year were the Waffle Flower Infinity Shaker covers. They make creating shaker cards so incredibly easy, and the shaker that you get is from edge to edge. I do have an entire video dedicated to the waffle flower shaker covers, but I'll quickly share how to put them together here. So do remember to remove the protective film. It's only on one side, and it has a little sticker on the side that it's on. Then you're going to use a bone folder or your fingers. I like using a bone folder because it has that flat edge, especially the Teflon bone folder, to fold in the little adhesive tabs. Then you're going to place your card front or whatever panel you've been working on inside and put 3 of the little tabs down by removing the protective layers over the adhesive and then pressing them down. And once you do that, then you have a shaker pocket that you're not going to adhere that 4th one until you place your goodies inside. Now, the great thing about these is you can put a ton of shaker goodies. I've shared that this has allowed me to buy new shaker goodies because I was just hoarding the old ones. And then remove that last little protective piece and fold it back onto the cardstock behind it, and then you've got your shaker. And you can place this on a card base just like a normal panel to hide the adhesive strips. For those of you who saw my last video featuring my new and must-have crafty supplies, you saw that I finally got my hands on the rabbit hole COTTONTAIL embossing tool. I think this would make a fabulous stocking stuffer, and if you know your friend has one already, then maybe grab a refill. So I'm going to share how to use the COTTONTAIL rabbit hole embossing powder here, but if you want to see how to start out using it and putting it together, I will link to that video below this video in the YouTube description box, and I'll link to it up here in the right hand corner as well. So this is the embossing tool. I am just going to click a little bit down into the brush and then rub it on my cardstock, and I am using a dark cardstock so I can use some white embossing powder on top. I love how this tool protects the bristles so that you can put the cap on without touching anything or ruining the bristles, and then you just pop it back into place. And so it's a small tool that holds both the powder and the brush in one, and I really like that a lot. So now I'm just going to use some embossing ink on this sentiment stamp, and then some white powder on top, embossing powder on top, and then heat set that. But you can see already that the powder is really only sticking to the spot that has the embossing ink where I stamped. So it does a really, really good job. And you can see that little halo of extra powder. Once your embossing fully dries and you're not going to smear it, you can wipe that away with a dry cloth. I'm going to use that little mini trimmer again. I told you I really do like to use it for little sentiment strips like this. I like having it out on my desk because it's so small. And then I am going to just brush that powder away like I mentioned and adhere it down to the shaker pocket that we created with the Mandala stencil. The next product is one that I featured in a new and must-have crafty supplies video, but then it sold out very quickly. Well, the Hurley Lunar paste is back in stock, all of the colors, and I can't recommend them enough for adding really vibrant color and shine to your cards. I have a video showcasing 5 different ways to use Hurley's Lunar paste, so I will link to that video down below as well. But basically, this paste is super easy to apply, and when it dries, it's even shinier than when it starts out. So I do like to share how it looks both on black and white cardstock, and honestly, this is one where it looks great on both. So no matter what color of cardstock you're using, the Lunar paste just has so much pigment and color to it and so much shine that it really is a blast to use with any kind of card that you want to add this type of shine to. I may have shared this a billion times already, but I really love having a good working white gel pen in my stash. Many of you have already seen the video where I picked my favorite. Recently, I added a paint pen to that list as well. So let me show you both of those. These make great stocking stuffer gifts. So in my last new and must-have crafty supplies video, I shared this new POSCA pen. I believe the tip is a fine tip, which allows you to draw things like dots, hearts, little stitched lines. Now, of course, it is not as detailed as a gel pen. This gel pen is my favorite. This is the Pentel Milky Pop in medium, and you can see how thin you can get those little X's, those little dots. Everything is just very thin and fine and detailed. And I love the Pentel because it comes out very easily. It dries opaque. It is just my absolute favorite white gel pen. So I'll list my favorite white gel pen video down below, and then I'll share the new and must-have crafty supplies video where I talked more about the POSCA pen. I don't know about you, but sometimes I think the stocking stuffers are even more fun than the big gifts. And I would love a stocking filled with all of these goodies inside. But I'd love to hear if any of these supplies are on your holiday list this year. Last year's video features a bunch of supplies that are still many of my favorites. You can check it out over here. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Happy holidays and have fun stuffing those stockings for, they make it? Metallic permanent markers. Metallic permanent markers. Can't even say it twice, let alone 5 times fast. Or distress paints. I don't even know what I was saying now. Like, I have no idea.